hour is here.
Check it out.
And you're locked on to Utah's highest rated, most listened to sports radio station.
It's my station. It's my station.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, folks, let's get it. Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're all having a tremendous day. We are live out and about today, one of our favorite places on the planet, Sound Sleep Medical. Make sure to stop by, hang out, or just give them a call right now, 801-285-9731. We're going to talk to Mandy here in a bit. But, Hans, how are you?
Well, if you're sick of not sleeping and you don't understand why you're not sleeping, we're going to help you today.
Yes.
Because it's miserable. Lack of sleep is completely changing and affecting your life in 1,000 different negative ways. So we need you to get your sleep. I just think about how much Lloyd has changed ever since getting this medical device that's helped him sleep. He's a totally different friend. He's a different brother. He's a different husband. He's a different father to his children. He's a different employee.
Yeah. Less verbally abusive to us.
Oh, very much less.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's still there to a certain extent, but
I'll tell you.
The only thing that the sleep device cannot help with, though, is when your youngest decides he wants to crawl into your bed at 5:30. It does not help with that. Just going to let you know.
When your youngest climbs on your head at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And sleeps sideways and decides he wants to put his head into your back. Yeah, no, it does not help with that.
All right.
What would you rather have, that big dome in the small of your back pushing, or his cold feet on your back?
Well, I hate feet, but I'll take the feet.
Okay.
We'll get a new deal with Children's NyQuil.
Yes.
And we'll fix that end, and we'll get your medical device going.
You mean the Christmas juice?
Yeah, the Christmas juice.
Yeah.
So that Santa can come. Santa gets cookies, you get Christmas juice.
Yeah. You just why don't you take a second dose of that?
Oh, Lloyd, you're right, man. You can cure a lot of things, but you can't cure that. But I do love being here. I love Sound Sleep. I love their partnership. They've been so good to us.
They've been great to me, and I will say I've got the device, and I was rocking a lot more LBs than I am now at one point. But you know what? And so I thought, when I dropped some weight, that the sleep apnea would go away. And guess what? It did not. I still have heavy sleep apnea, and so I still need that device. But you know what's interesting? And I don't know how well you're sleeping, but the older I get, like I thought when I was young, I'm like, it would be good when I'm an old man and I wake up at 5:30 and I'm like, I'm going to go attack the day. And now I'm at that point where, it turns about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'm awake and I'm like, I can't go back to sleep. And I'm like, this sucks. Like, I wish I could go back in time and sleep in another hour or two. But now I wake up and I'm like, oh, boy, what am I going to do? Nobody else is awake. House is quiet. You got to be careful not to wake anybody. And it's like, I'd rather be in bed than wake up that early.
Really?
Yeah. I am pretty productive in the morning. Lloyd gets my sometimes Lloyd gets my emails at like 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
You got to remember the world that you and I come from.
Yes.
Our dads were out of bed and gone from the house before we woke up.
Oh, every day.
And you felt a certain sense of responsibility of, oh, I better get up.
Yeah.
Oh, I better be busy if or when he comes home. Oh, I've got to show growth and movement and becoming an adult because Dad was always up and gone before we were. And your dad was working more in agricultural side.
Yep.
My dad was working for the state in child protection. They both worked a lot harder than we ever have in our life. And they showed it, and you knew it. And you're like, geez, I got to go get up. So what I do, I get out of bed 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I stomp down in the gym because I'm in a house full of athletes, and I'm pounding weights, and I'm hitting the treadmill, and I'm throwing weights against the wall. And I've had all my girls complain about, why you got to wake us up so early? It's like, someday you'll realize that me waking up and hitting the gym early was an indicator that you better get your butt in gear.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to be a professional athlete. I'm not trying to get a college scholarship. I'm just trying to stay hard body for my wife. That's all I'm trying to do. I want to be able to walk in public and have somebody not go, he used to be an athlete. Did you know he used to? Like, I don't want to have somebody.
She must have dated him when he was more of an athlete than he is now. And now she's kind of stuck.
And I think eventually, my kids are going to be like, man, my dad used to get up every morning and hit the weights and hit the run, because that's what our dads did.
Oh, yeah.
And I always do it with that in mind. Like, someday,
that's a great way to look at it.
Someday, they're going to be like, oh, man, I better get myself going because my dad's still stronger than me.
You know what's crazy, too, is because the same thing, if my dad came home early, so I'd get home from school about 3:15, and I had a lot of chores I had to do, but there was this little sweet spot between 3:15 and maybe about 4:15 where I would usually have the house to myself. I was a latchkey kid. And so I would go get some Fruit Loops, or I'd go get some Cap'n Crunch, pound a couple bowls of cereal, watch reruns of DuckTales or Brady Bunch or something like that, and that would give me enough time to get out and start working on the chores, because if Dad came home early and saw you
busted,
not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you would get a size 11 cowboy boot up your rear end in a hurry.
You were broke.
Yeah. And so when I come home, maybe early in the day or middle of the day or something like that, and I see my kid like suffocating the couch watching YouTube shorts,
smothering it,
and I'm like, and he looks at me, he's like, hey, bruh, you're home early. I'm like, why are you like jumping up and down in fear because I came home early?
And did you just call me brah?
Yeah, I'm like, and I'm your dad. Why you call me brah?
Oh, it's a different world, man. It's a different world. Yeah, my whole example from my dad was leave before you're awake, work all day, get home 3 or 4 hours after you get home, and then argue with your mother on I'm doing the dishes, not you. That was my parents' biggest argument. Was my dad would start doing, I'll do it, honey. Absolutely not. I'll do the dishes. You always do them. And I remember sitting there as a young kid listening to my dad, who worked all day, argue with my mom that he would do the dishes for her. That's a pretty good example.
Yeah, that's a great example
from a dad.
Yeah,
and he was very patient with me, but he would look at me like, you better be doing something with yourself. Like, you better, okay, you can lay there, but you better lay there because you exhausted yourself with something.
Yeah.
And so it was a great example. I try to be that example, but kids nowadays, they
don't care.
They don't. They just look at you like, can you not work out?
Yeah.
That would help me with my sleep routine. If you could not work out, that'd be great.
I mean, I got run the right act by my kids because I had the Peloton going, and I would listen to music on the speakers from the Peloton.
Yeah. They tell you to get earbuds.
You have earbuds, don't you?
Well, nowadays it's like, all right, kids, go and find a nice, quiet place that you can pay for.
Yes.
That is an option.
That's an opportunity for you. All right, we got a busy show coming up at 2 o'clock, of course, as always, on a Wednesday. And we will hear from the general manager of the Utah Mammoth. Bill Armstrong will join us. And at 1:05, Kurt Heelan will join us.
Scotty, I'm just sitting here, and I know we're going to get into this segment, but did you know there's 8 coaching positions open in the NFL? 8 of the 32. And this is every year.
Every year. Yeah, you got a good 20 to 25% turnover.
And this is the NFL. It's the elite of the elite. It's supposed to be the greatest coaches in the world. It's supposed to be 32 of the greatest coaches, team managers, developers, innovators, play callers, schemers. It's supposed to be 32 of the greatest minds in football getting a head coaching job, right?
Yep.
Yet we see 6 to 8 fired every single year. And you start to think, is it the man? Is it that guy? Or is there another problem? Where does the problem run deeper? If we're not able to succeed, we've now changed our coach out 3 times. We can pay more than anybody else in the world. We are professional football. We don't have a salary cap on what we can pay our coaches. We can pay them what their market value is. I can go out right now. I am the Atlanta Falcons, and I just fired Raheem Morris. I can go out, and I've got access to every brilliant mind in football, and I've got more money than anybody out there, and I can grab the top personality, the top developer, the top innovator, the person that's at the cutting edge of all things schematically football. I'm one of 32. Nobody else can compete with me. Yet, this is what I found. I gave him a 5-year. I'm now paying out 5 years' worth of contract, and now I've got to go find another guy. How does this happen?
Okay, I've got a theory on this because I think my Broncos are proof of this. Coaching matters, but what ultimately really matters the most is ownership. I don't think we give owners enough credit for setting a culture that can permeate down through who they hire, who they get in as free agents, all of that stuff. They don't meddle too much because the Broncos were like the stability. A bad year for the Broncos would be 8-8 back in the day. And then Pat Bowlen, who was the owner, started to suffer from dementia, ultimately passed away. He didn't have a kid who he trusted, so he put it all in a trust, the team, and they were fighting over it, and they were, a couple of them were doing the booger sugar, and it was just causing all kinds of problems. And that is when the franchise went and took a huge dive and just completely bottomed out over the last several years. Well, now Walmart, those owners come in, and they're like, what do you need? We'll write a check. We got all the money in the world. We got Walmart money, and we will bring in the bread. Well, Sean Payton's available. What does he need? This much? Well, you're still paying this much and this much. We don't care. We got Walmart money. We'll give him whatever he wants. Sean Payton comes in. You've got good owners. You got a good general manager, and boom, in 2 years, you're the 1 seed. I think ownership really matters because these bad teams like the Raiders, what's the common issue year after year?
It's ownership.
It's ownership.
Okay, but then I've got to throw this argument at you. Don't you feel like Jerry Jones? Okay, I know Jerry Jones is a hot button owner.
Yes,
but he has not brought a championship home since the 90s.
96.
Has not brought a championship home since the 90s. Yet I feel like he has sold his own soul to win. I know that you can make an argument that he hasn't done the right things in movements, but I do feel like he's an owner that would sell his soul to win a game.
I agree, but also I think that I heard somebody say the joke is the Cowboys won't win as long as Jerry Jones remains the head coach, which means Jerry Jones is a micromanager, and you can bring in a bunch of people that can be a head coach, but there's a reason why he hasn't brought in, and the last alpha, big personality head coach was Bill Parcells. And that ended badly. And since then, he's just hired a bunch of yes men.
He has.
And so I agree. Like, I think Jerry Jones is an awesome owner, and he's done so much good for the league. But I don't think he can help himself in saying, okay, look, I'm 83 years old. I don't really know that much. I need to just hand things over to a general manager, give him control, let him hire the head coach, and then write checks and make sure that they have everything they need. Because that dude ultimately has final say on draft picks. And I think he's caused some problems there.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. So from Bill Parcells, he goes Wade Phillips.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Jason Garrett. Yes, man. Mike McCarthy. Yes, man. Brian Schottenheimer. Still a yes, man.
Yeah.
I don't see him as an abrasive, hammer-down go-getter. Do you?
No. Nope. And, I mean, a guy that's going to push back. Like, none of those guys, Bill Parcells will push back on everything.
Well, okay, so then that's just an interesting study on who he is and what he's done as an owner. I think he wants to win more than anybody.
I agree.
But I think he can't get over his own ego.
Yeah.
And I watched the documentary, and he's got every one of his kids is working in that office and has some role or some say. But it's shocking to me. And Lloyd was just telling me Mike Tomlin stepped down?
Yeah, Mike Tomlin just stepped down. And by the way,
so does that open up a ninth, or was that the eighth that I was talking about?
I haven't done the total.
Let me look here. This is the teams I've got on my notes: Arizona, Atlanta, Baltimore, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Miami, New York, Tennessee. No, so That's new. So there's 9 openings.
All right. By the way, breaking news, not just the Tomlin thing, but it just came across on Twitter and Instagram. Guess who just made his announcement that he is returning to the University of Utah? Devon Dampier.
Oh, man, that's great news.
Let's kick it off. Starting lineup right now.
Oh, that's big news.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Hans and Scotty G.
Let's go.
The lineup is set, and it's time to kick off the show with the biggest topic of the day. This is the starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And to those who are fearful and want to leave, that's okay, because we will bring the ones that want to be here. And we will develop them and love them, and we're going to do everything we can. I've got an unbelievable coaching staff. The future is bright here. And at the end of the day, you're either in the boat or you're out. And yes, does it hurt to lose great young men? 100%, particularly when you've poured into them. It tears at your heartstrings. But we have to focus on, okay, who wants to be here? And let's go develop them to be that next year's group of guys you never heard of, or guys that didn't make plays for you the year before, but here we go. And like I said, I'm confident in our staff, confident in our players. We're going to get the job done.
So that's Morgan Scally talking about players that could be leaving and the message to them and the message to the fan base if a player does leave. Well, we've waited a while, and there were a lot of people at the University of Utah saying, I'm staying, I'm going. Bert Ficklin said he was staying, and then there was the coaching move, but then he reiterated he was going to come back. The one person who kept quiet during the whole thing was Devon Dampier. Up until now, Devon Dampier announcing that he, in fact, is returning to the University of Utah.
This is the first gigantic win for Kevin McGibbon.
Yes.
Anybody that's overlooking why this decision is made, then you're not understanding that this guy came in and he said, who's the coordinator, who's the quarterback's coach, who's the O-line coach, and what's our plan? Because we are replacing 5 offensive linemen. I know I've got my running back. I know that I've got my cohort in the backfield and Bert Ficklin back. But what's our plan here? I want a plan. And if you don't have a guy that can belly up to the table and draw up some designs and work out some depth charts and show you how you're going to be used, how you're going to be showcased, and how you're going to be in the Heisman conversation, you don't get a guy like Devon Dampier back.
No.
I've been around Kevin McGibbon, and I know you've been around him more than I have. I've been around Kevin McGibbon to know enough. In fact, I'll just, to pull back the curtains a little bit, Kevin McGibbon doesn't owe me anything. He owes me nothing. He recruited my son. My son committed to him, absolutely loves Kevin McGibbon. And Kevin shot me a little text when he got the opportunity. Shot me a little text. He doesn't owe me that. He doesn't need to text me. He doesn't even know he doesn't need to know what my name is. I'm a nobody to him. I'm a nobody in the grand scheme of all of this. But that's who Kevin McGibbon is. He's a caring, thoughtful individual. He still has an old school throwback mentality, but he's got a new school coaching, players coach mentality. It's really an interesting mix of what he is. And I'm putting myself in Devon Dampier's shoes, and I can almost hear the conversations. And Morgan Scally is a smart guy. He knows who Kevin McGibbon is. And I can almost hear the conversations where Kevin's saying to Devon Dampier, oh, actually, no, we've got all the plans. Nothing's going to be random. We've got all the plans. But plan number one, what do you see yourself doing? What do you see yourself as? What do you see this offense being? How do you feel about how you're being treated, where you're at? Can't you hear that being the first question from Kevin McGibbon? And then him saying, okay, look, we've taken all the bullet points of who you think you are and what you think you are. This is how we're going to emphasize it. This is how we're going to use it. This is how we're going to max it out. Because I feel like we've got a plan. We're not a lightning and thunder running back duo. We are a lightning and lightning quarterback opportunity. And we've got formations and I've got schemes that we can max things out and to just excite a kid. to say, oh, yeah, I'm back. Let's do this.
So I don't think Devon Dampier, I don't think University of Utah overpaid to keep Devon Dampier. I think what they did was like, okay, what's his market value? All right, we can get there. I'm sure there was an SEC school or a Big Ten school that was like, no, we'll add more money onto that. But I think.
By the way, do you want to guess his market value?
4 to 5, probably.
I was thinking anywhere from 3.5 to 5.
Yeah.
That's lobbing a guess. That's a big number for Utah to get to, Scotty.
It's a huge number. And I'm not it goes back a little bit to the A.J. DeBonsa thing at BYU. A.J. DeBonsa was offered a ton of money by a bunch of different schools. So you have to be in the conversation money-wise to have a shot. So then when you get there, okay, then what? What are you going to do? Because it's a new OC, new system, and a little bit of, what are we going to look like? What's it going to be? This is a big season for Devon Dampier to make the next step. And so if you've got the money, then what are you going to do? What's going to be the determining factor? Do I like my teammates? Do I like the situation? And do I like coaching? And I guarantee you, Kevin McGivern came in and said, and I guarantee you what he did not say was, this is my system. This is what we're going to do. No. I'm going to do this. And this is the system you will run
That's
for
not
me.
Kevin.
Kevin did not do that. Kevin sat down, and I guarantee you, without being there, it's exactly how you put it.
Yeah.
What can we do? What do you feel comfortable with? This is what I've done in the past. This is what I foresee us and what I can do for you. This is what I can do for Bird Ficklin. This is how I can use both of you together. What other ideas do you have?
I can't even tell you, in the world of football, Scotty, I can't even tell you how exhilarating or exciting it is when a coach comes in with a new concept. Now, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We know what football is. Football is half field, and football is number versus number. So I'm trying to work motions, and I'm trying to work half field to try to out-advantage you on a number on an offside. That's all it is. So if I can come in with basic football concepts of how we're going to overload and we're going to use Bird to force defenders to this portion of the field so that we can open up this portion of the field. It really goes down. I mean, it gets really detailed. But the basic concepts of football are very simplistic. And if I could explain to Devon Dampier, okay, with an extra presence on the field like Bird Ficklin, and with a running back like Wayshawn Parker, this is how we can overcome some offensive line deficiencies as we're rebuilding. Now, I know that we got some bodies and we got some dudes, but we're going to run some heavy overload concepts. And we've brought in 3 tight ends off the portal. These 3 tight ends, they're all blocking tight ends with the ability to catch. They're block-first mentality. So we're going to run overload. We're going to go 13 personnel. We're going to build pockets on the outside. We're going to set you behind those outside pockets. So you're going to have options and movements. We're going to build RPOs off of the movement of the pocket, and we're going to over-accentuate the backside of the field. We're going to reduce the number there because it's going to be forced to Ficklin observation, and we're going to destroy people off the edge with you. Like, that's it. And as a player, you just sit there like, oh, man, okay, yeah, hit the money, hit the number, and let's go surprise some people.
Yeah. And they're like, well, and this SEC team came in, they're offering me $300,000 more. Well, guess what? I like this OC. I'm going to stay here because the number, if it's in the ballpark, and you feel comfortable with the system, and you feel excited, you can play with Bird Ficklin,
right?
You're going.
And you know the kid loves Morgan Scalley.
He does.
You know every kid on that roster, they love Morgan. Morgan he's a hard coach, and he's supercharged coach. If you've ever been around Morgan, he's very loud. You know Morgan's on a football field at all times. But you also know Morgan loves you more than any other coach in the country. Like Morgan he'll hammer you, but he'll love you more than anybody. So you know that kid loved Morgan. And when Kevin McGivern sat down with the ideas and concepts and takes into account, well, what's your future? How do you feel? I think this is incredible that Utah has now secured Devon Dampier. It's huge news for Utah.
You kept Bird Ficklin and you kept Devon Dampier. Never in a million years did I think that was possible.
No, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. All right, Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked on to Hans Olsen and Scotty Chin.
That's right. Yeah!
on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Devon Dampier making his return to the University of Utah. Making that announcement on social media just about 20 minutes ago. We'll talk more about that, but it is a Tuesday, which means we got some gifts to hand out.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the three. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I think Locke wants me to get rid of that drop, but no, it needs to stick around. 801-575-ZONE. It's 801-575-ZONE. You'll win a pair of tickets. See the Jazz and the Minnesota Timberwolves coming up on Tuesday, January 20th at the Delta Center. Game starts at 6. Is it the Jazz that lose by 55 to Charlotte or the Jazz that beat Cleveland? We don't know. The only way you can find out is go to the game.
I'm not over the Devon Dampier news yet.
No.
This is huge news for Utah fans. It's huge news for the University of Utah. It's huge news for Morgan Scally. And it's massive news for Kevin McGivern and anybody that's going to be working on the offensive side of the ball. And I'll tell you why it's big. It's not just Devon Dampier and his ability. It's what it signals. It's what it signals.
Yep.
That's the more important product of all of this. At some point, you have to stop hemorrhaging. All of a sudden, this coveted wide receiver recruit that you absolutely love in Celeste Moa, who is going to be everything he's built to be. I really think he's the next Puka Nacua. I think that's what Samoa is. And he has entered into the transfer portal. Is that right?
That's the wording because he signed with Utah and he was on campus, but because he signed, he has to go in the portal to leave to go to a different school.
Okay. I understand. You're leveraging when you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah.
You got to leverage it when you're hot, and that's great. That's fine. But what this signals is, hey, by the way, Celeste Moa, I could have gone to Michigan. Maybe he could have, maybe he couldn't have. Maybe there wasn't an offer. Okay, if it wasn't Michigan, I promise it was one of about 10 schools that were willing to pay $4+ million because Vanderbilt is losing their coveted Heisman Trophy candidate. And Vanderbilt, I'm sure that they enjoyed the taste of victory, right? Mm-hmm. So at least Vanderbilt could get in the mix and say,
they don't want to go backwards.
I think we could replace Pavea.
Yeah.
And here's the conversation to Pavea. Hey, you're playing in the biggest conference. Did you see who was in New York for the Heisman Trophy celebration and ceremonies? Did you see who thought was going to win it? That's what we can do here now. We've now got a record, we got a history, and we could put you in place. I'm just trying to hand the other side to people so they can understand what Devon Dampier is turning down by staying at Utah. So what does that mean? If I'm Celeste Moa and I see the announcement today that Devon Dampier is staying, I'm like, oh, okay, so there's a commitment, an investment, a loyalty, a family, because a bit of family is going to play into it. Because my guess is Devon Dampier's not being paid more at Utah.
No.
He's probably being paid less than the highest.
I guarantee he's leaving some amount of money on the table.
I think so.
Yeah.
Based off of what you and I know.
Yes.
I think he's probably leaving some on the table. So there is a certain amount of family and loyalty and plus amazing expertise. Devon Dampier can distribute. He can get it to Celeste Moa. Celeste Moa could be a true freshman star. We saw a couple of them, or we are watching a couple of them in CFP play right now at the receiver position.
Yeah.
So these true freshmen, they're now groomed through all of these 7-on-7s and all of these receiver coaches and all of this extra work. And Celeste Moa is the man. He is that kid. He could come in, he'll run a route, he'll break on a route, he'll take a hit. He knows how to move into hits. He knows how to get down. He knows how to get the extra yards when he can get the extra yards.
Football's in his blood. It's his DNA.
It's his DNA. And as much as I think his brothers are very good football players, I think Celeste is the hope of the family. I think he's kind of the waiting star of the family. So if I'm him, now I'm looking at, I'm like, oh, Devon Dampier's back. Okay. Ficklen's back. Who else is back? What other names am I seeing are saying, hey, I'm signing up with Morgan. I am family. I am Drum and Feather. I am Utah. And the more I see of that, the more I'm like, that's what I want. I want that family. I want those teammates. That's what I want. And hopefully that can happen for him. But I understand why he's doing it. I understand why all kids are doing what they're doing nowadays.
Oh yeah, I don't follow the kid for anything anymore.
You just can't.
No.
There is such a limited opportunity. Now, I will tell you, Scotty, on the back end of that, because people are like, oh, you're an idiot. On the back end of that, there are a lot of kids that are getting bad advice and information from their family and from these shark agents that are surfacing trying to get every bit of money that they can. So I happen to know of a few kids that have gotten terrible, horrible advice, and it's detouring their careers. It will end up injuring their careers. If you get the right sound advice and you are what you think you are and not what people are telling you you are, you have to be what you think you are and not just some built up, voice of this guy can be and this guy. And then you get inside your own head and I deserve more, and you enter a transfer portal and you're not that man, you're going to get hurt. You're going to be sitting without a scholarship, without schooling. There was 6,000 kids in that portal?
That went into the portal. There were scholarship kids that have nowhere to go.
There's going to be 3,000 plus that have no landing.
That cost themselves a free college education.
Yep.
Because deep down those coaches are like, well, I'm kind of glad he left. And that player goes, hey, coach, I've checked out the world and the grass isn't greener. I want to come back. And the coach is like, no, I already gave you your scholarship. And plus the leadership council doesn't want you back anyway. So, now if a kid's really good, then the coaches will welcome him back for sure. But a lot of times they're like, no, sorry, your spot's gone. And frankly, we wanted that scholarship for somebody else anyway.
So when I say that I won't wrong a kid, I'm not going to wrong the kid, but the kid might be making very bad decisions based off of who's in his corner.
Yeah. And you're not saying that about Celeste in particular.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
It's just about
but I'm not saying that about Saw because Saw is him.
Yes.
Like that kid is going to be the next great thing at the receiver position. He's got the speed, he's groomed, he's bred, he's got everything. He's got the soft hands, everything that you want in a receiver. I'm telling you, he's as close to a Puka Nacua as I've seen in the state. I think he's more of a Puka Nacua than Tay Nacua is a Puka Nacua. That's how much I believe in Samoa. But this is a really good indicator. It is a beacon of hope and stability for the University of Utah that Devon Dampier announced that he's staying in Utah. And he should be lauded and praised for such instead of being like, yeah, of course, you're supposed to come back. You're a Utah man. We're the one that gave you the chance. New Mexico gave him the chance.
Yeah.
Jason Beck gave him the chance, and Jason Beck just went and took the Michigan job. And I got to imagine Jason Beck wanted the kid. Because Devon Dampier made Jason in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Devon Dampier made Jason in Utah. Now, Jason made Jason because Jason's an incredible offensive coordinator.
But it takes two to tango.
But you got to have the piece to make your money.
Yeah. Yeah. Good quarterbacks make you look great as a play caller.
Exactly.
But the other thing too, real quick, is there is so much. We shared the tweet from Kyle Whittingham's daughter where she's like, "Hey, look, my dad poured 30 years into that institution, and you guys are running his name through the mud." And I understand. I'm not telling Utah fans don't be upset, don't be grouchy, but y'all have been pretty spoiled for a long time, and this is what college athletics is. You just have had a guy that's been there for 20 years. You've been insulated from it. So, and you've been more than happy to pick off players and have coordinators bring players with them. I mean, look, New Mexico got completely gutted last year because Bronco Mendenhall went to Utah State, and Bronco took a bunch of New Mexico players, and Jason Beck went to Utah, and he brought two really good key players with him. And guess what New Mexico did? They had to reload, and they ended up having a really good year last year. Guess what? This is what happens everywhere you go. And you can be upset about, well, Kyle said he was going to retire, and now he's taking all the – okay, fine, be upset. But just know this is how it works. This is what college athletics are. And if you're grumpy, be mad at the system. It's just the way it is. And I know Jake Murphy had a really interesting tweet where he's like, hey, you know what? Can you just dial it down a little bit? And I'm not saying you have to put up a statue of Kyle Whittingham. I still think you should. But I'm not saying you have to finance that tomorrow. But just know you're acting like a spoiled fan base right now. Because you have been. Kyle Whittingham has spoiled you. Utah has spoiled you.
Yeah.
And you've been insulated from a lot of really ugly things because of the stability you've had. Now that stability's gone, you're in the boat with the rest of us.
Yeah.
You're just dealing with what most colleges across the country are dealing with right now.
Yeah, gear up.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
Gear up. But you're lucky enough that you had a predecessor. You're lucky enough that you had the next in line. And I think the next in line
is going to be great.
Is going to show well.
Yes.
And I think that you're going to be happy with it. And by the way, I understand because I see it. I understand where the anger is coming from. People feel betrayed because Kyle said, I won't mess with a kid unless he's in the portal. And people feel like he's messing with kids that aren't in the portal. There's a lot of ways around it. There are so many different ways around it, and everybody's doing it. And it was being done when Kyle was the head coach at Utah.
Yes, yeah.
And it'll be done now that Kyle's the head coach at Michigan. And there's a lot of ways around it where you can almost feel like you're holding your own integrity.
Yeah.
And you're holding your own word because, no, I didn't contact the kid when he wasn't in the portal.
Yeah.
Somebody else might have. I didn't contact him.
Nope.
I wouldn't ever, but somebody else might. But I wouldn't ever.
Yeah.
And it's very simple, Scotty. It is not hard to get to the root of a Texas running back that you recruited 2 years ago that's now blown up on the scene, and he is running extremely well for San Diego State. I had every connection with this kid. I recruited this kid. I know his coach. I know his sister. I know his mom. I know his dad. I know his first three employers. It's not real hard. I know his ecclesiastical advisor. It's not real hard to get a message, not from Kyle Whittingham.
No.
Not from Kalani Sitake.
Nope.
But from the BYU athletics department.
Yeah.
Of, hey, you happy at San Diego State? That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, wait. Why are you asking if I'm happy at San Diego State? Because kids are now, it's Christmas for these football kids. They've got, instead of visions of sugar plums, they've got visions of dollar signs.
Yes.
And so all it takes is, are you happy at San Diego? Whoa, wait. Why? Let's say I'm not. What does that mean? Oh, well, we're not offering you anything. We're just simply asking if you're happy. Well, the next thing you know, the kid's like to the mom and dad, or the kid's to the head coach, or the kid's to two of his teammates that ended up at a different university is like, hey, somebody just reached out to me and asked if I'm happy. What are you hearing on your end? Well, I'm hearing they like you. How much are you making? I'm making $580,000. Holy crap! I'm making $84,000 here at San Diego State. You're making that much? Can you have them get in? Here's the number. Have them get in contact with me, and that's it.
That's it. That's all it takes.
And then you got the coach behind the table. It could be like,
I didn't talk to anybody.
Oh, look who's reaching out to us.
Yeah.
And that's how easy it is. So people think that Kyle Whittingham is dressed like Captain Jack Black. Was that his name? What's the guy from the stupid movies with the pirate thing? I love pirates, but the dumb.
Yeah.
The guy that was just on a public trial play.
You like the ride better than you do the movie.
I love the ride.
Pirates of the Captain Jack Sparrow.
Thank you, Lloyd. Captain Jack Sparrow, not Captain Jack Black. Okay, so
or Jack Morgan. That's Lloyd's other favorite.
Or Jack Morgan
or Captain Morgan.
Wait,
yeah.
No. Oh, Captain Morgan is the okay, but it's not like Kyle Whittingham is dressed up like Captain Jack Sparrow and is selling his boats into uncharted territory and stomping onto shore and saying, I'm taking it all. That's not what he's doing. He doesn't have to do that. He can still hold his integrity and be like, wait a second. I'm sorry, are you complaining at Utah? Because let me just show you some of the things we did with New Mexico.
Yeah. Well, you weren't upset then.
Did you enjoy
You weren't bothered when I did it last year.
Did you enjoy the 11-win season?
Yeah.
Let me just show you how I did it. Because I pillaged without having to have a captain's boat.
Yeah.
And that's how it is in the world of coaching now.
Nobody blinks an eye when your school does it to somebody else. But when you have it done to you, look, I've been in the middle of this. I've worked with 9 different coaches. I've worked with 5 different basketball coaches in 9 years as the play-by-play guy at Utah State. That's rinse and repeat, right? And they all take players with them. This is just the world you live in.
Yeah, it is.
And they can, and you coaches will always say something along the lines of, "I'm happy here. My family's happy here. My kids. We're at a point in our lives where we've really settled roots down, and this is where we want to be." Like every coach says that stuff. You don't believe it. Nobody ever believes it. Because, eventually they're always looking for something else. Mm-hmm. And Kyle Whittingham, did he do you dirty? I don't know. And even if he did, well, guess what? That's his priority, his prerogative. So
he's doing right by himself.
He's doing right by himself.
And guess what? That's fine. If you want to hate him. But you better not forget what he did.
Yes, for sure. All right, Hans and Scotty, coming up next, what you may have missed right here on The Zone.
Number 1.
Miss any part of the show? Every moment of every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Overall, a really, really high-level team.
And to those who are fearful and want to leave, that's okay, because we will bring the ones that want to be here. And we will develop them and love them, and we're going to do everything we can. I've got an unbelievable coaching staff. The future is bright here. And at the end of the day, you're either in the boat or you're out. And yes, does it hurt to lose great young men? 100%, particularly when you've poured into them. It tears at your heartstrings. But we have to focus on, okay, who wants to be here? And let's go develop them to be that next year's group of guys you never heard of or guys that didn't make plays for you the year before, but here we go. And like I said, I'm confident in our staff, confident in our players. We're going to get the job done.
The words of Utah head coach Morgan Scalley, and Devon Dampier said, you know what? I want to be part of this. Devon Dampier returning to the University of Utah. Kept things very quiet, kept things close to the vest, and decided, you know what? Now I'm ready to go. And I'm sure that there were incredible offers on the open market. I can't imagine what his DMs look like from all over the country saying, hey, you know what? Your coach just left. Come here, cash our checks. We're ready to go. And yet, he stays put. And the fact that it took so long makes me think he did his due diligence in working with the new staff to make sure that this is what he wanted.
Well, the good news is now this is an indicator that more and more Utah should and will be able to retain their talent.
Yes.
And I've got to imagine Utah fans have been losing their minds as player after player after player from BYU was sending out tweets and announcing that they're staying. They've seen everything from L.J. Martin and Bear Bachmeier to Isaiah Glasker and Falatau Satawala. And they want to act like, well, they aren't good players and, wow, great for you. You get an announcement that a bad player's coming back. They're lying to themselves, and they know that BYU is restocking with the talent that took them to 12 wins. And in the meantime, Utah fans are having to sit there and with their head down knowing their head coach left, took a bunch of talent, and their primary quarterback is not announcing anything. This primary quarterback was waiting to see how Morgan restaffed, who he restaffed with, and who he'd be playing for. That's so understandable. Mm-hmm. Anybody that can't understand that, you're irrational, and you don't deserve to understand it. So Devon Dampier was waiting and probably wanted a meeting with Kevin McGibbon or whoever his offensive coordinator was going to be. Probably wants to understand what's going to be happening next at the University of Utah. Because I want to go where I can win. Because the best way for me to get looks at the next level is wins. I know that for a fact because in a 6-6 season where there was 5 or 6 of us that probably should have been drafted. Only one was drafted, and 4 or 5 of us became free agents that made NFL rosters because we were 6-6. It just was not a good season. We weren't seen on the highest scale. So what did we get? We all got a bunch of senior invites so that we could go out and show NFL scouts more about what we were about, because they didn't see, well, are these guys winners? They're seniors. Why are they not winning? And I'm sure Devon Dampier understands that. You know, I don't know if Pavea is an NFL quarterback. I really don't know if he is.
He's not.
But the scouts got to see him turn an entire program around, a school that's never won. Well, why are they winning? Oh, this kid, he's got a lot of guts. He's got moxie. He's got fire. At the very least, he's going to get a shot at it.
Yeah. If Vanderbilt goes 3-9 the last 2 years,
never a whiff.
Nope.
So, to Devon Dampier's credit, he's just doing his homework. He's doing his homework. Him and his agent, anybody else that surrounds him, because he's worth $4 or $5 million. It's probably a smart thing to do. So it took longer than a lot of these BYU kids. Now, these BYU kids, it was really crazy to me because Jay Hill leaves, and these kids are still announcing pretty quick.
Yeah.
Jay Hill left, and Falatal Satawala was like, I'm coming back. I don't even think Kelly Popinga was announced when Falatal Satawala.
A lot of them were announced before Kelly Popinga was officially announced.
I think quite a few of them.
Yeah.
Now, I know why. Because they knew.
They knew.
Yeah. They knew. It was told to them, hey, Kelly Popinga's this is going to happen. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with the corners coach, and we don't know what's going to happen with the safeties coach, and maybe we leave or we lose Gennaro or we lose a couple of other. We won't lose Kelly Popinga. We know this is going to be your guy. But I've got to imagine there was some level of that.
Yeah.
And these kids left and right, bang, bang, bang. And then you bring in a corners coach, and Evan Johnson rolls in. Wait a second. Tell me more about Demo. Sounds like a good coach. So he was a head coach for a bit. So he's been at Boise State. Okay, so this is a tenured corner coach, so he can get me to the league. Yeah. Okay, I'm in. Let's go. Well, Kevin McGibbon is not a real well-known name. He's going to be, but he's not a real well-known name. And I think Devon Dampier was just taking his time. Now that he's announced, you should see a good amount of people start to announce that they're coming back. And you've seen a few. I do wish that this was announced before J.J. Buchanan signed with Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah.
And left for Michigan because and maybe J.J. Buchanan talked to Devon, and Devon was like, I'm really leaning to coming back. Okay, leaning? Are you going to? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but are you going to? I'm pretty sure. Well, then announce it now. Let's announce it together. I don't know if you could have saved it, but he's a talent that I don't want to lose if I'm the University of Utah.
The landscape of this is really fascinating because Utah just needed – now, look, there's been wins for Utah. Make no mistake. But they needed a big puff-out-your-chest W. And this is it for Utah. This is where you can say, yeah, not only did we get Bird Ficklin to come back, but we got Devon Dampier to come back. We got both these guys to buy into a system in which they're both being showcased and – we'll share some opportunities out there on the field. Granted, 80% of it's going to be Devon Dampier, but Bird Ficklin's that's a hungry mouth that wants to be fed. And so you got to find a way to get him involved, and that will come sometimes at the expense of Devon Dampier. So you got to get both those guys to buy into that, coming back for another year. Now, granted, money certainly is going to have a lot to do with it, but also playing time and opportunities to showcase your skill at this level.
Yeah.
And to get both of them in a room with Kevin McGibbon and say, look, I can make this work with both of you. Not only will both of you get opportunities, but both of you guys are getting opportunities to shine and look great. And we're going to win a lot of games. We're just going to score a lot of points, and you're going to be on everybody's radar.
Yeah. The other thing that I'll say about the Devon Dampier signing, it's kind of like A.J. DeBonsa at BYU, where everybody's like, it was all about the money. It's not all about the money.
No.
It's not. I think A.J. could have made more money somewhere. I do. Not a ton more, but enough more to maybe justify it. But it is about something. It is something about where you're at. And that's a really good indicator, because I really believe Devon Dampier could have probably got more money somewhere. I feel pretty confident and comfortable in saying that.
Absolutely do.
So this says a lot about you. And guess what? That's okay for it to say a lot about you. BYU fans, it's okay for Devon Dampier to say a lot about the University of Utah, that he wants to stay there. Just like it's okay to say that A.J. DeBonsa came to BYU for more than just money. There was something there. He felt something. It was Kevin Young and his development and connections to the NBA. It was campus. It was the way he was received by BYU fans. Well, it's the same with Utah fans. And by the way, Utah fans have to get going on the basketball side of things, because there's no way you retain Devon Dampier if your football attendance looks like your basketball attendance. This is a full circle, come-together effort to re-sign Devon Dampier. If he doesn't have the fans in the stands, he's not re-signing.
No.
If he doesn't have a certain amount of money to be able to justify staying, then he's not re-signing. If he doesn't have a coach that he's happy with, then he's not resigning. It took a lot to get Devon Dampier to sign and stay at the University of Utah. And it's just funny because we love to lose perspective of that, especially in rivalry talk. You love to lose perspective of why, and then discredit somebody when they're like, no, it was more than money. Yeah, well, okay, but it was money. Well, yeah, you couldn't have done it without money, but it's more than money. It has to be something more than money. Because there's a lot of these Utah kids that have turned down money. Spencer Fano, he turned down a lot of money to play with Utah in 2025.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Caleb Lomu, the same. Actually, Dallas Vakalahi and Smith Snowden, the same. And they turned down money. And well, you're going to have kids that are turning down money. Now, the other reason that this timing is important for Devon Dampier, the transfer portal closes in 3 days. And now, as an offensive staff, if I'm Jordan Gross and I'm jumping to the transfer portal, because Jordan Gross will be the number one position coach in the portal, and he's going to his offensive line and he's looking and he's like, man, he does have a bunch of freshmen that are going to be sophomore. He's got Soren Schinofield. He's got Brendan Molina. He's got Ike Garcia. Ike Garcia's got to surface, man.
Yeah.
He was a big 4-star, 5-star, whatever. Ike Garcia was the biggest offensive line recruit out of the state in 2024. I think he was a 24 signing, wasn't he?
Yeah, huge signing for them.
It's time, man.
And honestly, I'd forgotten about that name until you'd brought it up.
It's time.
Yeah.
Crap or get off the pot.
Yep.
Like that's the world of big-time college football now. So, Ike Garcia, you've got a huge responsibility and opportunity in front of you. And now all of a sudden, Keith Olson becomes your upperclassman. And I remember I was up in the indoor with Jim Harding having a conversation back in, like, I think it was 2023 or maybe his early parts of 2024, and he's pointing out this Keith Olson kid. He's like, hey, this kid over there, he's going to be the future. He's a grinder. He's a worker. And I watched him hit some rotational, and I watched him in some play, and he's good. All of a sudden, man, hey, Keith, you're the guy. And now you got Devon Dampier behind you. So you don't want to let that guy down. And you don't want to let Morgan down. You got a lot of weight to carry. Okay, so those are the young pieces that I can start to work with, that understand my culture with Spencer Fano and understand my culture with Caleb Lomu and Moko Fisi and Jaron Kump and everybody else that stayed with the University of Utah. So you're going to have to infuse that culture, but you're going to be outweighed. We're bringing 4 guys in from the portal that don't understand your culture. You got to put it on them to understand what responsibility they've got for Devon Dampier. And you've got to build a 5-man front out of probably one piece that you feel comfortable with. Maybe 2.
Yeah. The portal may close here in a few days, but if you're already in the portal, certainly you can take all the time you want to sign with your team. I think this is also a big statement to guys that are still on the fence in the portal. Like, oh, no, you're hearing – because I guarantee you there's a lot – I mean, look, the world of negative recruiting is an ugly, nasty world. And there's all kinds of people out there that Utah's in on that are saying, well, geez, Morgan, you don't want to be the guy that replaces the guy. Morgan, is he over his skis a little bit? We don't know. Kevin McGivern, he was at San Jose State and Utah State. Really? That's the offense he's going to go with? There's a lot of uncertainty. And to have the quarterback from last year go, no, I believe in all of these guys, and I'm coming back.
Huge.
And then you go out on the recruiting trail and say, oh, yeah, guess what? Stability? Guess what? Let me play you some of Morgan Scalley's press conference. Let me tell you the fact that quarterback met with the OC and said, I want to come back. And the backup quarterback who got big snaps, he met with the OC and he says he wants to come back. Both those guys are running back. This running back wants to come back. And all of these guys are saying, yeah, we feel comfortable with the coaches. We feel great with the offensive coordinator. We are all coming back. So don't give me that stability nonsense because we're as stable as anybody. So come on to the University of Utah, and these guys want to ride with you.
I said this about Kalani. I'm going to say it about Morgan. I said about Kalani that his talent retention was a bigger win than the 12-win season.
Yes.
This retention of Devon Dampier is Morgan Scalley's biggest win as a head coach to this point. I know that it's a short tenure, but that's his biggest win. And it's an identifier of how his reign and regime should go. It should set the culture. When you play for Morgan Scalley, you stay for Morgan Scalley. Because that's what a Heisman hopeful and a 3,000-yard passer and 600-plus yard rusher and a guy that's racked up close to 30 touchdowns, because that's what he did. It's got to set the culture and the standard. Now, Morgan's got to win to be able to retain that standard and that culture. But this is the indicator that that's what can happen at the University of Utah with Morgan. With Kyle gone, it could still happen with Morgan.
Yeah.
And so it's an early indicator of a lot of positivity moving forward for the University of Utah. I just think it symbolizes a lot more than, oh, yes, we get a good quarterback back. It symbolizes a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And I also think you're right. And the other thing it does for me, if I'm Jordan Gross, I'm able to put a call into the transfer portal to the top 5 offensive linemen who are in the portal and say, hey, I got a guy that's going to make you look really good. What do you mean, Coach? He's been sacked a total of 7 times over the last 2 years. I think it's close to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
It's right? It's pretty close to that.
Yeah. It's definitely less than 10. It's single digits.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Because I think he was only sacked 3 times in New Mexico and maybe 5 or 6 times this year.
Yeah. Not much at all.
Okay. So now I can call a kid in the portal, hey, and by the way, I played offensive line. If I've got a coach that calls me and says, hey, I got a quarterback that doesn't get sacked. Now, I'm not saying I'm not accountable for my actions and wanting to be a good offensive lineman. I just understand what timing and footwork can do to make an offensive line look brilliant. I also know how a bad quarterback can make me look stupid, which I still watch the NFL, and I'm like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, throw the ball. You're going against the best defensive line in the NFL. Throw the ball. Why do you think you can hitch and double clutch? Throw the freaking football. You're getting hit and looking like an idiot, and don't point at your offensive line. It's because of you.
Yeah, you knew how bad your offensive line is.
You knew, and your offensive coordinator knew, and you're too big of an idiot, or you got too big of an ego, or you believe you can take the sacks, and you can blame your offensive line, and people won't put the pressure on you. But the truth is, the pressure's on you, you moron. It's the best defensive line. Okay, fine. You put on a bigger set of pads, and you try to stand in front of these rabid maniacs that are trying to kill for money. You do it. You try to block them. Well, yeah, but my offensive line gets paid. Yeah, but they also understand that we're pressured. We know that you're going to throw the ball. As an offensive lineman, when the defensive lineman in front of me knows that you're going to throw the ball, what's the defensive lineman going to do?
Pin their ears back.
Damn right. He's going to take advantage of me. He's going to hit me with one steps all day long. He's going to hit me with one steps. He's going to set me up to the inside all day long. Then he's going to pound down on the inside on a big 3rd and 10, and he's going to hit me on an outside speed rush, and I'm screwed. And it's like, you suck, Aaron. It's not my offensive line, and it's not the coordinator. You suck. Throw the damn ball. Yeah. Well, I can call as Kevin McGivern, or I can call as Jordan Gross, and I can say, hey, I got a guy that knows how to not be sacked.
Yes.
And that's big for you. And this is what we're going to do to really emphasize you and your abilities. That's big.
And by the way, I'm going to circle back on Kevin McGivern just based on everything you're saying here. Kevin McGivern was working with a really, and I'm just going to say it was a really bad offensive line at Utah State. I know I call their games, and I should try to sugarcoat it. It was a bad year for that offensive line, and it just wasn't good. And he still had an offense that put up crazy numbers. Why? Because he knew the issues that he had, and he schemed around them. All right, so I've got a rough offensive line. What am I going to do? I'm going to roll my guy out of the pocket. I'm going to do things. I'm going to run a lot of play action. I'm going to do a lot of things to try to keep that defensive line on their heels a bit, because I know if I go a 7-step drop with 3 routes and my guy's, he's not going to have time. Bryson Barnes is going to get murdered back there if he has to sit there and go through his progressions. He doesn't have time. So what can I call that can get us yards and get us points, but yet scheme around this really mediocre to bad offensive line? And that's why I think that's why I will always trumpet up Kevin McGivern, because what he was able to produce with what he had last year, and now you put him into a system where he should have better offensive line. I guarantee he'll have better offensive linemen, and he's got more weapons to work with. Watch out. Watch out.
I think he could be really good, and I think this is big news
for
the University of Utah, and I think big news for the University of Utah is great news for us.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it will stabilize the football product in this state. It will keep the rivalry healthy. It will keep everything that makes your job fun and my job fun. It will keep it all healthy.
So I remember when we were doing shows back in 2020, and they were trying to get the football season going, and the Big Ten was like, no, we can't play. And then the Pac-12 was like, oh, well, you say you can't play, then we can't play. And everybody was like, nope, we can't play. And it was just, everything was just steamrolling. It was just, and the SEC was like, no, well, we think we can do that.
Yep.
And the BYU's like, well, you know what? We'll cobble together a schedule.
We can play. The 2 leaders.
And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, well, they're playing? Well, then maybe we can play. And then the snowball went the other way. To me, this is that moment for the University of Utah. Not that everybody was fleeing the University of Utah, but there was some key losses.
Yeah.
J.J. Buchanan, Samoa. Like, there's some guys out there that it hurts. You know, Smith Snowden. And you needed one guy to say, nope, no, I'm not going to be like a rat on the Titanic. I'm not jumping. I'm going to stay put. I'm right here. I'm good. I like it. I like the coaches. And you just needed that one signature win to say, no, we're fine. We're going to be just fine. And everything that Morgan said in that press conference of, like, if you want to leave, we're going to wish you well, hope nothing but the best for you, but we're going to surround this team and this community with people who want to be here. And guess what? Devon Dampier saying, I want to be here. It's a big W.
It's a big W, man.
Yeah, for Morgan, sorry. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
It's your good, it's your bad, it's your ugly. All brought to you by RGS Exteriors and Construction. They are obsessed with quality results. Well, we are also obsessed with getting you to a Jazz game. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the 3. He hits. Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. You win a pair of tickets. See the Jazz and the Minnesota Timberwolves coming up on Tuesday, January 20th at the Delta Center. The game starts at 6 o'clock. By the way, if you don't win tickets, don't worry. We'll give away another pair next hour, and the hour after that, and the hour after that. We do it every Tuesday right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hey, by the way, I don't know which one of you, Lloyd or Hans, to be mad at. But Hans,
yeah,
I am now on the I'm now on the scripture list, and I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know who gave Trevor Riley my number, but now
I'm so glad.
And now I'm on the scripture list.
Good. This
is good.
This is going to positively affect you.
And you're right. It's like clockwork every day.
Trevor Riley, who is one of my favorite human beings on planet Earth, former Utah player, former Jets player. he is on a mission to not only convert the non-believers, but to reassure the current believers that the Book of Mormon is true. And he is sending passages to everybody every single day.
Every day.
And by the way, I get 2 or 3 scriptures every morning from Trevor Riley, and I look at what he's sending me because I'm like, oh, how's Trevor feeling today?
Yes.
Oh, I see that he feels like Korihor was a bad person, or, whatever it is.
Yeah. No. There's God is a wrathful God. There's those days when you can tell maybe Trevor's not in the best of moods. And then there's the forgiving God.
Yeah,
you know, and so.
He is just and merciful.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what'd you do, Trev?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Uh-oh, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I love being on his rotations. And I'm glad that I wouldn't have intentionally shared your number for that purpose.
Okay, now there are 2 random texts that I get that I really enjoy. The Trevor Riley scripture text and the Tim Lacombe playing guitar in his basement text.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
It's a good rotation to be on.
All right. Good, the bad, the ugly. There is a movement. So NCAA tried. A lot of the coaches have been pushing this forever, and there keeps being pushback in the 5 to play 5. So essentially, no more redshirt years. You have 5 years to play, to have 5 years of eligibility. And for some reason, that just keeps getting kicked back. So football coaches now have responded with a way to kind of adjust and work around that rule. And it used to be 4 games to keep your red shirt. Well, now it looks like it's on its way to 9 games. So essentially, all but 3 games of the year, your freshmen can play and still hold on to their red shirt year. So a red shirt guy, normally if he plays more than 4 games, boom, red shirt's gone. If he plays 4 less games, he can hold on to that red shirt year. Now it's going to be 9 games.
That's official?
It's been unanimously voted on by football coaches, and now they just need to get one more ruling on it. But it looks like if it's passed this far, it looks like it's going to go.
So why 3?
Because they can't get somebody to sign off on 5 to play 5.
Just give them 5.
I couldn't agree more. They
Stop this stupid circus. Now the kids can make money. It used to be shortened because it's like, well, we'll get them through college and then we'll give them their professional opportunity. Now it's like, no, we can offer 5 years of making money to kids.
Yeah.
So just offer the 5 years. Nobody's going to look down their nose at you.
For some reason, we just make things harder than they need to be. And that's why we're in this weird place, because everybody was a stick in the mud. They're like, oh, we can't do this. And then it got to the point where kids are like, I think we can. And, I'm going to hire a lawyer. And the kids started suing and winning every case. And now everybody looks dumb, and you got the old Wild West because you weren't proactive enough to think about things like this.
Doesn't 3 games sound petty to you?
It's, very petty. Absolutely.
Like there was somebody in the ruling digging their feet in. No, absolutely not, because then it's 5 to play 5. Okay, well, what's wrong with that? Well, that's just not how it is. It's 4 to play 5, or it's 5 to play 4. Yeah, but is it? Well, if I have anything to say about it, give me 3 games and we'll agree. That's so dumb.
You imagine a kid that's been a starting all right, let's say Moa starts day 1 for Michigan, right out of the gate. And it's all of a sudden coming up November, you got Ohio State coming down the pipeline, and it's like, hey, we're going to sit you out the last 3 games. Why, Coach?
What?
Well, because we can sit you out these last 3, and you can still hold your red shirt and be a freshman next year.
Well, to that point, people do not see the games that are played inside that game.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it with one individual in particular this year that it was like, we think he's healthy enough, but we're not sure he's healthy enough, but he's good enough that we need to kind of rest on it, and we'll keep him off the field because maybe we can get to the back end of this and we can ensure a medical red shirt. Or did we play too many? Well, I think we can play him in one more. Oh, but the bowl games don't count against it, so we can play him in the bowl games. Oh, the championship game doesn't count. So here's our gamesmanship. Yeah. Okay, so we can play him 2 games in the rivalry game and maybe our biggest game against Texas Tech, and then we'll play him in the Big 12 championship and play him in the bowl game, but we'll keep the medical red shirt. And you're like, wait a second, that's a rat race. All we're doing is playing games for stupid reasons.
It's a shell game.
It's a shell game. Just give them 5 to play 5.
Yeah.
And if they miss 1 because of injury, give him another one. I don't care. And make it an acceptable number. Maybe it's not 1. Maybe it's 2. But when they say, oh, if you played more, I think it's 4 games?
Yes, 4. 4 is what it currently is.
If you played more than 4 games, then you miss on the medical redshirt. Well, okay, but I played partially injured through the majority of one of those 4.
I was really banged up.
I was taken out in the 4th quarter of the 3rd of the 4, and you got all these stupid excuses to play the game. Make it an acceptable thing. If you miss 2 because of injury, we're giving you an opportunity. Okay, but what if in the 10th I played 2 quarters? Okay, you're going to get to the point where you're like, all right, if you missed 1 because of injury, we're going to give you another season.
Yeah.
Because if you missed 1 because of injury, you might have been injured game 5, which influenced game 4 when you got injured, and then influenced the next 4 games because scouts saw you. Okay, so now what justifies missing a game because of injury? Because then I could just sit a kid out, say he twists his ankle, and he gets 2 more years of eligibility because we just gamemanship you.
And by the way, if you think what Hans is saying is preposterous, it is par for the course. This goes on all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, and
now it's gotten worse because now your money's involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So people are gaming the system. Players are trying to game the system. That's why you see a lot of kids just quit after the month of September because they're like, well, I don't want to, I'm going to go in the portal, and I got my 4 games of film out there. I don't want to risk it, so I'm going to go in the portal, and when the portal opens, and I'm going to miss the rest of the year because I already know. I've already got this coach from the SEC telling me, like, hey, sit out the rest of the year. Come here as a redshirt freshman next year, and we're going to go, and we'll get you paid too. I mean, it happens all the time.
It does.
It's disgusting. All right, there's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
And I put this on the bad just because it amuses me. It's a rinse and repeat. And sometimes you get a nickname, and you don't feel like you deserve it. Right? And you feel like, okay, and you got to work past that nickname. If somebody thinks that, they call you, slow, whatever at work because you're slow or you're not good or whatever the case is, and you're like, I'm going to fight through this. I'm going to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony Davis was given the best nickname in the history of sports by Charles Barkley.
Yes, he was.
When they called him Street Clothes.
That's great.
And if I was called Street Clothes, that would be, they're going after my toughness. They're going after my ability to fight through injury, to play through pain, and I'm going to prove them all wrong. Well, Anthony Davis is expected to undergo surgery on a ligament damage in his left hand, and he will be out in the next several months.
Call it. Call it.
Just shut it down.
Just shut it down. Because you are Street Clothes.
He is Street Clothes. But you know what? He's still getting paid, so he's like, look, maybe this isn't a bad gig.
Scotty, unless it's an ironic name, like let's just say that my nickname was Naptime Hans. Naptime Hans on air. Unless it was ironic, like, oh, Tiny Hands. You know Tiny Hands?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it was ironic, if I was Naptime, I would do everything I could to juice it up, or I'd get out of the game.
Yep.
Okay, so your name is Street Clothes. You fought against it because I remember when he fought against it.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. How dare these men that are paid to talk about my game call me Street Clothes? That's what you are, man. You could add up the time of his time in the NBA, and it might be less time on the court than time on the court in allowable time. Might be, right?
Yeah.
Less time on the court.
Yep. I think, yeah.
Than time on the court in allowable time.
Correct. I think you're right. And, the other element to this is that this guy was traded to Dallas for Luka,
who is running the Lakers right now.
And it's exactly going the way we all knew it would go.
Yeah.
Luka would run roughshod for Los Angeles and the Lakers, and Anthony Davis would just be sitting time on the bench. And Nico, fortunately, lost his job over this. I don't like saying guys should be fired. The only time I think we've ever done it is that Nico should have been fired for that trade. And eventually he was, although it took a while.
But again, I am becoming more and more open to the thoughts of conspiracies in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
The more I see just the seedy underbelly of what the NBA is becoming and who's running the NBA, I just wouldn't put it I wouldn't put it out of my mind that it was conceivable that somehow Nico brokered a deal to move Luka to receive the number 1 overall pick.
It makes too much sense. Makes too much sense. And then people are onto it. They're like, well, this seems like this is a conspiracy. Well, what can we do? Well, hey, go fire Nico, and that'll make it seem like you're mad at him.
Hey, Nico, you are going to take the fall for this eventually.
Yeah.
But we're going to make it worth your time.
We'll give you a cush job in the league office. It'll be fine.
The move was so bombastic. It was so preposterous. It was so ridiculous that it had to be associated and tied to something. Because nobody with that level of ineptitude could possibly be running an NBA roster to move Luka Doncic to the LA Lakers without something being attached to it.
I hate being tinfoil hat guy. I really do. I don't want to be that guy, but you can't help but not be that guy because it's just so blatantly obvious. And to see them have a .004 chance of getting the number 1 overall pick and like, oh, wait a minute, you have it. And here comes Cooper Flagg.
And honestly, Scotty, if I'm an NBA owner, I might not be public with it or overly vocalize it, but I would be calling for a complete and total investigation into it. Because this trade happened in the middle of the night, and they ended up with Cooper Flagg. I want an investigation. I know that sounds petty, and people are like, yeah, well, hang on, just because you're a Jazz guy. Look, I'm not a Jazz guy. I'm just talking from a business sense.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz were the worst record in the NBA, and not only did they miss on number 2, they were sent down to number 5, while Dallas moved a talent, and Dallas got number 1.
Dirty.
I'm asking for a total investigation. Yeah. And then at some point, if they're like, we're not going to investigate that, then I'm going public with it because I think there's something stinky about this.
If Mark Cuban was an owner of a team, not Dallas, and I know he's no longer the owner in Dallas, but if that happened, we need more like Mark Cubans. They're just like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to say what's on my mind. And I think that was dirty. Like, there needed to be somebody to be like,
yeah, because Mark might be the only guy that would have said it.
Exactly.
If this happened, but it was the Jazz. If the Jazz had the number 1 player in the league, and they moved him
to the Lakers
for street clothes.
Yeah.
They move him to Showtime for street clothes, but then somehow they end up with the number 1 pick. They get A.J. Devonta in their back pocket when they were the 5th or 6th worst record. What was Dallas?
Dallas was in the play-in.
That's right. They lost in the play-in. They were 11th.
Yeah. So I mean I'm telling you, the chances were like .03 or something like that. Just a ridiculously low amount.
And they end up with it.
Yeah.
Everybody would be calling for some type of. And guess who would be head of that? It would be Mark Cuban if he was full owner again.
All right, Hans and Scotty, Whole World News coming up next. And we'll talk a little hockey coming up at 2:05. Bill Armstrong will join us. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Every show is available in podcast form by searching Hans and Scotty on your favorite podcasting platform or online at KSLSports.com. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It is that time of the week, one of our favorites. We get a chat with Utah Mammoth General Manager Bill Armstrong.
It's time to hear from the General Manager of the Utah Mammoth, Bill Armstrong, on your exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
So good.
Great. New Year's has started. You guys started the year 4-1-1 points in 4 straight games. Not a bad way to start the new year.
That's a great way to start.
and you got to start it with the Winter Classic announcement. It's an amazing start to a 2026.
I'm telling you, people are going to be so excited about that. It's unbelievable in so many different ways, but you know, it's just basically packing 50,000 Mammoth fans into one spot, tailgating, and it's a phenomenal almost weekend, you know. So it's going to be exciting times for Utah.
Well, and there's one thing that we know about Ryan Smith and SEG. They don't do anything half-A, and I got to imagine that thing is going to be quite the event.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable with the mountains in the background. It's going to be special. So we can't wait. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Hey, Bill, I got to catch up with you at that announcement for a minute, and I want to just kind of capture your perspective on this, if I can.
Yep.
You've been around the NHL for a lot of years, and you've seen announcements, and you've seen communities surrounding these announcements. When you sat up there and you're on that kind of concourse area and you're overlooking the Timpanogos Range and you're overlooking Rice Eccles, and you've got the commissioner of the NHL and you've got the owners, Ashley and Ryan, and then in those front rows, you've got every dignitary from the governor all the way through Senate, and you've got every reporter, and you've got all of this surrounding support. Is that unique in the NHL, what we were witnessing just on this Winter Classic announcement? Or do you get that level of community, dignitary, ownership, and commission support everywhere in the NHL?
Well, I think you don't. I think we have it because it's, the governor shows up. He's a huge Mammoth fan, and they've done that announcement, before on the TV at the game. They came to Utah because of that exact same reason that you just talked about. Everybody from the ownership, everybody in, communities in, and the view in the back of the mountains, coming out of the stadium. It's just beautiful. And that's what Utah does. A few years ago, Utah didn't even have an NHL team. Ryan and Ashley obviously stepped up with SEG and brought it. And they've done everything first class from the start to the end. And I think, the commissioner in the National Hockey League has a lot of faith, in Ryan and Ashley and how they do business. And he wanted to be there to announce it right in Utah. And it was just a phenomenal day for the Mammoth to be able to have that many people and important people show up for that announcement. So it was it's a special thing, and I don't believe you get that in every other NHL city.
How much, because I'm sure a lot of these guys grew up in the middle of nowhere, Canada, playing on an outdoor, rink somewhere. How much does this resonate with the players? How excited did they get about these opportunities?
Well, it's a time, not only do you get to play the outdoor game, which, you grew up on the ponds as a kid and the backyard rinks. So there's something special about playing hockey outdoors, number one. Number two, it's very family-oriented, the event, because the night before you're bringing your family in and you're basically, skating on the ice. You're having hot chocolate outside. And, and then the day of, it's a big tailgate for everybody, and along with your family. They're part of that. So there's a lot of family atmosphere. Players just love it. It's a special time, and it draws a ton of attention to your team and your players. It's a big day. So for us, we couldn't be more proud to be involved in that. The NHL just doesn't give that out to any franchise. You gotta be an up and coming franchise and a really good, stable franchise with great ownership. A spectacular place to have it before they'll do that.
Okay, so I got to tell you, Bill, because I'm an NHL fan, but I'm also a Bill Armstrong fan. I actually I circle that St. Louis game.
Oh, yeah.
That's my rivalry game.
We're
Bill.
all about St. Louis, those games.
That's my rivalry game,
yeah.
and you stuck 4 on them, and you stuck a 4-2 win on them, and that's a really good win. What did that win mean to you? What did it mean to the team?
Well, I was walking into the rink that day in the Delta Center, and I put my head up, and one of the players from the St. Louis Blues was there, and it was one of the guys I helped draft. He put his head up, and he smiled at me, and I said, "Go easy on us." And he said, "Well, I'm looking to give it to you tonight."
He knows. Yeah, he knows.
He knew. But I kind of a little, competitive chuckle and smile as I rolled past him. We're going to kill you.
Yes.
There's always that competitiveness in me, because I knew in the back of my mind that all my old staff was watching, and there's that competitive vibe too. So it's good.
So homestand continues. Toronto Maple Leafs come into town. They're on a 10-game point streak. They're killing it. What kind of matchup are we seeing here?
Ooh, they are killing it. They got players on all 4 lines that can produce some points. They are hot. They just went and beat the number 1 team in the National Hockey League last night. So for us, this is a big game. we got to win the home games. We got to find ways to get points. There's no bigger game. I said from the start of the season, every game is like Game 7 for us. There's one game that we need to play, and that's the game tonight against Toronto. It's Game 7 for us. It's going to be an intense battle. We got to take it to them, and the Leafs have been very, very good of late. One of the better teams in the National Hockey League. It's a great challenge for us.
So, Bill, I was just looking at the kind of the future for the Mammoth here, and you got a lot of home games, and there's a lot of exciting things. And I don't know if our listeners, even the NHL fans that have started to buy in and coming out to the Mammoth games, understand how the postseason structure works. And it's not overly intricate, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they take 3 qualifiers from each division in each conference. So in each conference, There's 2 divisions, which means there's 3 guaranteed spots in the Central Division in which the Mammoth play. And it just so happens to be that the Mammoth currently reside in the toughest division in the toughest conference in the sport. So it's almost like those 3 guaranteed qualifiers are Colorado at 74 points, which nobody's even breached 74 other than Colorado, Dallas at 63, Minnesota at 61, and then you've got Utah who's fighting in there for the wild card. So help people understand, because as I'm looking at it, Utah is just a hair outside the wild card and has played the most road games of anybody in the NHL. So explain to people where Utah currently sits and how you feel about it.
Well, I feel good. We got a ton of home games this month. And we've kind of, people don't understand, when you play road games, there's a lot of miles traveled. You're getting tired, and so at one point we had played 8 more home games than some teams in the National Hockey League. To play more away games, you got to travel. You're on the road every day, on an airplane, taking trips for 4 hours. It wears you down. It wears your team down. We've kind of put in the road miles. Now we've got some home games here, and we've got to take advantage of them. There's some big games, coming our way with the Seattles and Dallases, and tonight against the Leafs. They're all massive games at home for us. So are we in good shape? Yes. Do we have to win those games? Yes, we do. This is a battle. This is what we talked about. Last year we talked about meaningful games, playing meaningful games. Now it's playing meaningful games and win. So this is right where we want to be. And this is like, we're a young team. At the same time, if we can approach it like it's Game 7 every game and just concentrate, find ways to get points out every game, we're in good shape. I will tell you, behind the scenes with our team, and you break down all the analytics, they're all green. They're all in a good spot. And you can see that in one simple thing. We're +6. We've scored 6 more goals than we've given up. And that translates, to +18 or +16 at the end of the year if you go over the 82 schedule. If you're +15 in goal differential at the end of the year, you're guaranteed 100% of the times that you're going to get in the playoffs. Jeez. So there's some good numbers behind the scenes for us. When we first started doing this and we were in the rebuild, and our numbers were completely red. Like, it was depressing looking at our analytics behind the scenes. And now you get in there and they're all green, and there's good stuff. Now we got to win. We got to find ways to win. There's good numbers. There's a healthy team, that takes the ice every night, ready to go. And now we got to take advantage of those home games.
So I want to go back and just kind of get into the mindset of an NHL player, because I've discovered that you guys have long memories, especially over a couple months, because, McBain had just been sitting back and waiting, and he knew who injured Cooley when the last time you guys played St. Louis, and he waited and finally got his opportunity.
My man.
Is that pretty common for guys to be like, no, it may take a couple months, but I'm going to get you?
Well, I can't really comment on that. I didn't know really what that was about. That's amazing that was about. Now that you say that, maybe they could have had a talking warm up or something, and I think
I'm sure that's
they
what
were
it was.
unhappy about something. But they were unhappy about something, and I think they were able to work it out within the first 30 seconds of the game, and I think the crowd was entertained.
You know, that was,
yeah.
you know what?
And I think the point was made.
This is not your first rodeo. You handled that extremely well. That was well done by you.
To talk it out and work it out, and I think Torpachenko and Bain will maybe be friends now, but they were able to kind of work it out in the first 30 seconds of the game, so it was nice.
It's crazy. But, when that McBain fist gets working, it looks like a car piston. It's just crazy.
He is. It's he's certainly not only a player that we were able to sign this summer that's going to be a key contributor to us winning a championship. Boehner's all in, physically, emotionally, and mentally. He's all in to being a Mammoth, and he plays hard every single night. So for us, he has a great respect for his teammates. That's an emotional moment, obviously that he was involved in, and he's always sticking up for his teammates. He's certainly been a huge part of our team getting to where we're at.
Speaking of that, and I think every time we have you on, we need to update the Mammoth fan, the NHL fan out there. What is the current status and update on Logan Cooley? How are things?
Well, Logan's coming back. He's healing nicely. He's done a nice job with his rehab. We're hoping, I think probably sometime after, the Olympics, he'll get back into our lineup. But so far, so good on all his rehab and his healing and all that kind of stuff. So all good news from that end. He's somebody that, he's in every day working his butt off trying to, heal up as quick as he can. But I can tell you this, we miss him. We miss his speed. We miss his passion. There's always some good news when someone gets injured because someone always steps up. And, Schmaltz he's done a great job filling the role, taking on that center position. But we do miss Cools. And, when we do get him back in the lineup, I feel like we're going to hit our stride.
No doubt. Before we let you go, got to shout out Veggie, first goalie to win 20 games, leads the league in games played. Man, he ever since last year and then, the end of last year going into this year, he is such a workhorse.
He is. We'd like to play him every night. I don't know if that's possible, but he does a great job in there. He really gives our team a chance to win, and he's going to have to be at his best tonight to beat the Leafs. And it's going to be a battle, but we always love going to war with Veg.
There you go.
This is a fun season, Bill.
Yeah.
This is fun. Scott and I get an opportunity to talk about this back and forth, and typically we show up for show prep and we start hammering out some NHL stuff. And this is one of those seasons you look for because we get to see the competitive spirit. I know every point is critical when we get there to the 82 and they're counting them up, looking for the 2 wild cards or looking for the guaranteed 3 spots out of the Central. We just know every point is critical. Even a middle of the season pre-All-Star type performance, you got to see these points. So we love every step of it, Bill.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm going to start with a full head of hair, and by the end, I'm going to have lost all my hair. Could be completely bald by the end of the season, but it is entertaining. It is. You're right. It's going to come down. We're either getting in by a point or out by a point. Every point matters.
Well, you get used to it after a while. The bald, it's not it's fine.
Yeah, Bill, we're bald and happy. We're doing okay.
It's all good.
Our wives still kind of act like they know us.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Hey, Bill, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks for hanging out with us. Good luck tonight.
Thank you, my friends. Take care.
See you, Bill.
There he is. Bill Armstrong. Good man.
When I say it's close, it's razor edge thin.
Yeah.
Right now the Kings would have a tiebreaker over the Mammoth. I don't know if the Mammoth are going to catch the other 3 in the Central. You look at the lead that they've got. And I'm not saying it's insurmountable, but it is 12, 13 points to the next closest. They've separated themselves, and they could catch up and they could get one of the 3 guaranteed out of their division. I look at it realistically and I say, wait a second. Okay, who is the real competition? Who do you have to beat to make sure that you get that full 2-point swing? You keep them from getting any points, and you get that 4-point swing essentially on those teams. And those teams right now are the Seattle Kraken, the San Jose Sharks, the Los Angeles Kings, and the Nashville Predators. I mean, and there's a few other in there, but Those are your primary targets right now.
Well, and if you go back to last year at this time, I don't know where St. Louis was, but remember that last third of the season when they caught fire and came out of nowhere and just barreled their way into the playoffs. And so you anticipate somebody's going to get hot that you weren't necessarily counting on, and hopefully it's Utah. Hopefully it's the Mammoth or that team. Mm-hmm. But you do feel like somebody's going to string together some wins, and I think it very well could be the Mammoth just based on their schedule alone because it was so lopsided and so road heavy early in the season. And as this thing balances out, this team can take advantage of that home ice.
They could, and with that in mind, you've got the Seattle Kraken on your ice this Saturday. That's the game. Circle it. You're going to be able to learn a lot about who this team is because they identify it more than we identify it.
Yeah.
They know that's a 4-point swing for Seattle. Take 2 away from them, give yourself 2, and keep trying to bury the Kraken because they're hot on the hills. They're looking for that wild card spot. And you got to keep them at bay. But all 4 of these home games remaining are critical. Yeah. But there are some that you can do more damage with.
Yep. All right, Hans and Scotty, we'll go break a little early. There's a lot of topics we need to get to on Sports Roulette coming up next right here on The Zone.
The wheel is loaded, and it's time to talk some sports. This is Sports Roulette with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're going to spin the wheel here in just a moment, but before we do that, let's hand out some more tickets.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, and your chance to win tickets is right now.
Call this number now.
Call this number now.
Be caller number 12 at 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-ZONE. And you'll be on your way to Delta Center to see the Utah Jazz.
He fires the 3. He hits! Oh, don't do me like that.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jazz Ticket Tuesday. We do it every hour, all day long, every Tuesday, right here on The Zone. Right now, 801-575-ZONE. Caller number 12, you'll win a pair of tickets to see the Jazz and the pesky Timberwolves coming up Tuesday, January 20th at the Delta Center. All right, with that, let's spin that wheel.
BYU keeps the heat on.
Man, do they ever. 5 signings that I think are going to play a huge role in the direction of this BYU Cougar football program. And I'll name them in order of what I see. And I would say number 1 is Cade Uluwave. He is the linebacker transfer out of Cal that I think brings a lot of experience. He brings a lot of tackles. I'll give you some evidence of that. He's been at Cal for 3 seasons. Started his first season. Racked up 67 tackles, 38 solos, 2.5 sacks, 2 interceptions. That was back in 2023. Just a freshman. 2024, 71 tackles. He ended up with a couple of pass deflections. He had a sack, he had an interception, and he was a big playmaker. In 2025, and by the way, we're talking about Cal.
Yeah.
It's Cal.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of talent do you got and what kind of numbers and plays can you make? Well, somebody's got to make the tackles. This guy was making all of the tackles.
All of the tackles, yeah.
Last year, 2025, he ended up with 100. He ended up with 100 tackles. He ended up with 100 tackles. He had 4 pass deflections, 3 sacks, and was an absolute beast defensively for Cal. So there were just a lot of big moments for this kid. BYU just signed him. And now he comes in where you're losing Jack Kelly. Cade Uluwave can come in and he can supplement and support new a new and freshman that's trying to transition in Nusi Tamaipu. He can help support that growth, or you can move Cade Uluwave into the middle and you can get some different usages out of Isaiah Glasker, or you can get different usages out of Siali Asera. It just does so many things. He's very versatile. They went and got another linebacker in Jake Clifton. Jake Clifton comes out of Kansas State. So he's 6'2", 225 pounds. He's out of Oklahoma, and he's another linebacker transfer. And then you get 3 offensive linemen that I think can help find a way to help you. You get Zach Yamamuchi out of Stanford. You get Paki Finau out of the University of Washington, and you get Junior Sia out of Utah State. I think that Finau out of Washington could be an instant contributor. He's 6'5", he's 320 pounds. He's an absolute monster, and he could possibly work in and give you some type of depth to try to figure out what you're going to do with Isaiah Jotta's position, because Isaiah Jotta now graduates, moves on. You do keep Andrew Gentry, and you keep the core of your interior by keeping Bruce Mitchell, your center, which was a big keep, and then Kyle Saforchuk, who I think will work into a starter and potentially at the guard position. But you still have Leusa and others that you can transition to the outside, and with Finau, you can create depth. But I want to get your thoughts on Junior Sia because you saw him.
That was an offensive line that gave up 39 sacks last year.
Okay.
And
is that what they ended up with?
Yeah.
39 sacks.
And, yeah.
Holy cow, that's a lot of sacks.
Near the top 10 in TFLs allowed.
Okay.
Now
did he start all season?
No,
or did
he came in midway through and replaced a player and then played left tackle. I just think he needs to be in a situation. I think TJ Woods will be very good for him.
Okay.
The frame is there. The size is there. He just needs some good, solid coaching and a good culture around him, a good offensive line culture. And I think he's got a chance to be really good.
Well, then that gives you, two potential rotators, and Junior Sia, who I think obviously will be a project, but does have upside.
Yeah,
and he's
got experience too. So
that's the heat that BYU's keeping on. There's two things I want to see now: running back depth and quarterback depth. Because you lose McKay Hillstead back to Utah State.
Yep.
You're losing a freshman that was in the 3 deep. I think he's headed on a mission.
Oh, that's right.
And now, your depth starts to really thin out at BYU at the quarterback position. So you might need some help there, and you definitely need some running back depth. But now you're just getting picky. Now you just sound like
Now you're just greedy.
Yeah, you just sound greedy.
You're the kid that got the PlayStation and the new phone for Christmas, and you're like, but I also wanted an iPad.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what you're doing. Well, that's what I'm doing.
But that's all right. You should. If you're in a spot you can do that, go for it.
It is a couple of the key areas that you look for. And I know that BYU has got to work on that running back depth.
And that is – you talk about it being a little bit greedy, but honestly, if you can find somebody to take a little bit of the pressure off L.J. Martin, and if you look at – we went through this last week. If you look at the carries he had and compared to every other running back on the team, the only person that came relatively close to him in carries was Bear Bachmeier. And if you get a second running back that can give him a little bit of help, can give a little bit of the pressure off Bear Bachmeier as well in the running game, that would go a long, long way. I think that's actually a really critical add for BYU if they can find that.
Hey, when I said that quarterback was going on a mission, and you kind of winced a little bit, is he not? Is Emerson?
No,
Gilman?
I was just spacing the name. I couldn't think of the name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Emerson,
No, you're right.
I think, but I have not seen or heard the announcement. But Emerson Gilman was the freshman out of Bountiful.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak out of turn, but the undercurrent buzz was that he's a big deal.
Yeah, and he just, in fact, he's going to Sao Paulo, Brazil, Interlagos mission.
Okay, I just didn't want to be wrong on that.
No, he showed his opening up of his mission call online. So,
do we have any news on Trayson Bourget?
Actually, wait a minute. Yeah, Emerson Gilman, yeah.
That's right?
Yeah,
okay.
You're right. He was, by the way, he's a Bountiful kid.
I felt like I almost spoke out of turn. The buzz last year during the season was this kid's really good.
And the thing is, he's heavily under-recruited. And I'm close to a lot of the coaches at Bountiful just because, my kid plays there.
Yeah.
And they kept telling me all the time, like, why this kid why isn't he getting the love? He should be getting offers from everywhere. And he led Bountiful to a state championship, not last year, but the year before. And everybody was all like, this kid needs to be recruited. He ends up going to BYU, and then all of a sudden he gets into that system and no pressure to play, just learning the system. And yeah, all the results are like, this kid's good, really good.
So that was the buzz. And I feel bad asking because, you see the big names and the critical names. Have we heard anything from Trace and Bourget?
Yeah, I've not.
Either have I. And that's somebody, if he is coming back, that's somebody that you could feel pretty good about giving him a spring ball number 2 label.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a fall camp number 2 label, and see if he can be the support because he's been in the system for a bit. But I think that you got to continue to broaden your horizons.
Well, look, Bear Bachmeyer would, put himself through hell and back last year. And if you can develop a little bit of depth there, because can you really count on him going 12 games?
Bear Bachmeyer?
Excuse me, yeah.
No. You'd want to, but you'd want to be able to count on him, but you can't. Although I have seen an increase in quarterback health.
You know what? You're right.
The last couple of years, quarterback health has been – it seems like quarterbacks have been a little bit more available and a little bit more reliable than in years past.
Because didn't the kid that went to Tulane, Retzloff, didn't he play? He played all 12 the year before.
He did. He played all 12 in 2025, but there was a minute there where he was sat.
Yeah.
But I think it was performance-based, not injury-based. And then he played every game in 2024 with BYU. And remember, I did the study. I was actually going to do the study for this year's Big 12 season, but 2024, of the 16 teams that had starting quarterbacks, I think it was 12 that ran the full season or all available but one game. And the other 4, 1 or 2 was injury, and then 1 or 2, like KJ Jefferson, was benched because of ability. So I feel like quarterbacks are showing a lot more stability. But still, to your point, you got to have the guy. Now, what's interesting, though, with Gilman going on a mission and Ryder Lyons continues to be committed to BYU.
Yeah, and I don't know how long he's on a mission.
Well, but that's the word is he'll spend 2026 on a mission and be 2027 available.
Okay.
That's kind of
yeah.
That was kind of from his mouth.
So it's the 1-year mission thing, yeah.
I've never seen that clarified, but that was kind of from him. And I know he's currently engaged in MTC and mission training, so he is planning to head out. But it kind of felt like his point was, yeah, I'll miss 2026, but I'll be ready for 2027. Okay, well, if that's the case, then you really have 2026 that maybe Trace and Bourget is your backing, and maybe you get one other guy. But you're going to have Ryder Lyons, Bear Bachmeyer, and then Emerson, who will be back 1 year after
28.
Ryder Lyons.
Yeah.
Has the year, you feel like you've got some quarterback rotation in the system right
Which
now.
makes it hard to recruit for 25 or 26, excuse me, because you've got, like, who wants to come in when they know that Bear Bachmeyer's a sophomore and you got, Ryder Lyons coming down the pipeline. Like, it's not stacking in your favor. So it may actually work against you to fill this one gap here.
Right, and that's why you don't get in the Sam Levitt sweepstakes because – you know, I think Sam might be kind of a one and done on the sweepstakes, maybe. It just depends on how he performs. But you're not looking at a long-term solution. You're looking at a stopgap fill for 2026, and then you'll need a little bit of repetition support, experience support as you're getting Ryder Lyons up to be your backup quarterback behind Bear Bachmeier for his senior season before you then, or final season before you hand it off to Ryder Lyons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hope. I'm sure that's kind of the hope and plan. But even holding on to Ryder Lyons, if he's only missing 2026, that means Bear Bachmeier will have 27 and 28 of eligibility. So you would have Ryder Lyons that would stack behind Bear Bachmeier's 2 years of eligibility. And would Ryder Lyons be willing to stack behind Bear?
It's hard to say.
As a junior and senior.
Yeah.
Or does he stay out for a full mission term and give 26 and 27 to Bear Bachmeier, come back in 28, be his protege and backup, and be ready to take over in 29?
I mean, that's what BYU, I think, deep down would hope he would do, just because it makes their life a little bit easier.
But, if you're looking at it from Ryder Lyons' perspective, he obviously he's committed to the church and he wants to serve the church, and that's awesome in any capacity. I don't care if it's a month mission. I just don't care. If a kid's heart is open to serving the Lord and Savior and serving his church, then I'll never wrong him for it. So if he wants to serve for 2 months, go do it. I didn't serve for a single day in a mission. Go do what you need to go do and feel fulfilled in whatever capacity that you do it. I'm all in support of that.
Yeah.
But that poor kid has to look at it and say, well, nowadays you're getting 20-year-old draft picks in my position.
The clock's ticking.
I'll be 20 when I get back, and now I'm looking at running a supportive system through 28. That'll put me to 21, turning 22 when I get my first start. And so, your clock starts to run when you're that high level as Ryder Lyons. Your clock starts to run, and you're like, okay, well, what can I give to the church in support of a mission? And what can I give to myself in support of my future and my career? And we get so locked up in judgment. This is a big thing that's going on Twitter, and I've kind of been involved in this back and forth, and JT's involved in it, and Hank Smith's involved in it, and we're just kind of going back and forth in mission judgment. And I think it's a pretty bad thing. It's an ugly thing in how we get pulled into judging who serves what and when they serve and what they served and how much they did when they served or they didn't serve. So how much is Hans Olsen judged because he didn't serve a mission? So do we slap judgment on him? We've got to get completely away from it. If a kid's willing to give an extra month of his youth to serve, I look at him like, man, that's awesome. Good for you. That's beautiful service. Now the church asked 2 years. And it's like, okay, can you give us 2 years? Well, if a kid can give you 2 years, more power to you. I'm watching my son serve, and I'm just sitting here in awe. Like, my son could have been on a field and probably would have got playtime.
He very well could have started near the end of that season.
Might have started for Utah State.
Yep.
There's a good chance. And what was he doing in the meantime?
Chopping wood.
Dude was chopping wood and building fence for the Navajo Nation. Yeah. And it's like, geez, son, like I hope that's returning blessings. I don't know if you think it or expecting it, because I've seen kids come back from missions, and what's their blessing? Oh, well, we don't have a spot for you. You put on 50 bad pounds, and now you got a bad hip.
Yeah. And frankly, I think, look, if you were to put truth serum into Tanner Mangum, he would say, I would have no regrets about serving the mission. None whatsoever. But did it help your career? Probably not.
Probably not.
Because I think in his mind, that clock you were talking about was always in his mind. Like, I'm seeing my Elite 11 guy, Jameis Winston. He's already been in the league for 2 years. Here I am getting my first start for BYU, and that pressure of, like, I need to produce now because I need to make this. And it never really – he had, a couple of Hail Mary throws, but other than that, it just never clicked for him. And I think he was always behind the eight ball there.
Yeah.
And some of it was self-inflicted in terms of his pressure that he put on himself because of him starting a little bit later.
Well,
and so look, I'm the same with you. Like I'm not judging anybody for any amount of time they've served or if they didn't serve or any of that. Right. I mean, that's between you and the big man upstairs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's service. It's service. It's not mandatory.
No.
I am giving you my time. I am giving you my time. Whatever time I can give you, and feel okay with, I feel like that's okay. And I'm just not going to judge a kid if he decides I can't go. You know, I've always told you, I always felt like my mission was converting myself. That was my main mission, was finding my own conversion.
Who knew the impact you had on Kalani Sitake, though? Because you were still around, helping Kalani develop into the man he is today.
Oh, my gosh. The stories I could tell you of Kalani pulling me out of so many mud puddles. That guy. And maybe I pulled him out of a mud puddle or two, but you know, I look at the way things play out, and I'm like, geez. You know, I'm grateful for the way things played out, and everybody can second guess. You know, if somebody does feel injured by their mission, at some point in their life, they're going to look back and say, "I'm blessed for the time I served."
Oh yeah, and that's
one way or the other.
And that's why I said Tanner Mangum, I guarantee, has no regrets. Over the mission.
Like I had no rights being in football, anyways. What it did is it wrapped things up for me, so I could pursue whatever career I'm currently involved in now, anyways.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of those moments of my life. So I look at a kid that's willing to serve for 1 month and makes a mistake on a mission and comes home. Hey, I love you.
Yep.
I love you, and thanks for the effort of it.
We're live here at Sound Sleep. Make sure to give them a call, 801-285-9731. We'll talk to Mandy on the other side. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.